we haven't done this in the past. We have never, ever invited, except one time during COVID, we had a virtual speaker. We have never invited a guest speaker to come talk to us to kick off the year. And I thought we would try something a little bit differently this year. And we all sometimes can feel like we need a bit of an uplift and we need to laugh a little bit. We need to be reminded that we're humans and there are other people out in the world that really want to see us succeed. And so the gentleman that I had met this summer was really impressive. He is a man who knows a little bit about courage and purpose. He had worked in corporate America for 20 years, and at some point he recognized that he had a calling in life. And his calling in life was to be on stage. And he cut the ties in corporate America, and he took what was not, he left the safe route to try to do something a little bit differently. And now he's really, his star seems to be really rising. Let me read his bio, and then we're going to get Marklin down here. He left corporate America after 20 years to pursue his dream, to follow his calling to be on stage. He credits his father, Willie, a high school health and physical education teacher and head football coach at New Jersey's Barringer High School, as his greatest aspiration in life. Today, Marklin's an author, a comedian, and a motivational speaker. He works with students, speaks at churches, corporations, and other live events. As a comedian, he has performed stand-up in a number of clubs, including New York City's West Side Comedy Club, Greenwich Village Comedy, and Comic Strip Live. He hosts his own podcast, Sunday Coffee, which can be found on Spotify, iTunes, and Facebook. And he right now is preparing for a gig with TEDx, or a TEDx conference. So we wish him the best with that. When we spoke, he and I discovered there were a lot of similarities between being a comedian and being a teacher. Now, you guys do that already. Both professions are challenging and have only gotten harder the past few years. Both require you to engage your audience by conveying information in a relatable manner. Both rely on timing and creativity and the ability to connect with people to provoke thought or laughter. Success one night does not guarantee success the next night. The audience is fickle. Does that sound familiar? They are quick to criticize. Does that sound familiar? Or be offended. Marklin is here today to share his experiences and remind us all of our purpose as educators, to help us reconnect with our why, and to make us laugh. Please join me in giving Marklin T. Johnson a warm welcome.
Kingsway Regional School District, good morning to you. How you guys doing this morning? That is pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. There's 250 of you in here, and it sounded like 2 of you said hello. We're going to try it one more time. Kingsway Regional School District, good morning to you. There we go. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dr. Lavender, for having me here. I really appreciate it. As he said, first of all, I want to say when you were reading that, I was like, who the hell is he talking about? I was confused like you wouldn't believe. I will say this to start off. I consider it an honor and privilege to be here to talk to you guys at the start of your new year. I appreciate each and every one of you for all you do, mainly because a lot of my friends in the comic world are teachers and are funny as hell from all the stories they tell me all the time. Trust me when I tell you they're funnier than all the other comics that are like, I just want to be a comic one day. Their stories are absolutely amazing. One of the things that I profess in this world of what I'm most proud of is the fact that I'm a son of a public school teacher. My father, Willie Johnson, taught in the Newark Public School District for 29 years. He loved being a teacher. That's all he wanted to do was be a teacher. I remember, this is a tricky thing you gave me, man. This is real tricky. I remember I was 10 years old and I saw him putting together a lesson plan. And at that point, I never really paid attention to it. I was just like, what is he doing? He goes, I'm planning a lesson for the next month. I said, okay, you teach gym. What the hell are you doing, sir? Now, I didn't say hell because my dad would have backslapped me, but I'm just saying. So he said, you know, I give different lessons. Like, you're a gym teacher. What are you teaching? You can teach dodgeball. Now, you guys remember in gym class they used to have dodgeball, but you just aim waist down. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I also teach health. I teach science. That was the first time I ever realized teachers do more than whatever the subject that they tell you they're doing. So you guys got to give yourselves a round of applause because you were way more than whatever you signed up for in the original place. And if my dad knew right now that I was talking to 250 teachers, he would say, none of them want to listen to you. They want to be in their classroom setting up. They want to be someplace else. Nobody want to hear your ridiculousness. Get off of that stage, sir. But I miss my dad most, and I feel like this right here is my way of paying homage to my father. So I was really touched that you allowed me to do this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to ask you guys this real quick. Sir, why did you get into education? How many people agree with what he said to help students? Some round of applause, round of applause. Young lady right here, why did you get into education? To make a difference. How many people agree with her? Okay, I see some of you are confused and don't know why you got into education. Not a problem, we'll figure it out later on. Everyone gets into education for different reasons. Everyone decides, I'm gonna go into that realm. You know, some people say, this is where I just ended up, I'm not sure. What I found interesting when I was talking to a lot of my friends was these stats right here. 200,000 teachers every year end up just leaving because they can't take it. So I want you to give yourself a round of applause because you're the people that are still here sticking it through. You're the people that are sitting here saying, no, I'm gonna keep going. This is what I wanna do. After COVID, 55% said, it's a wrap. I'm gonna retire as soon as I can because they didn't wanna deal with the nonsense anymore. And what I found astonishing about that was they were like, I give up. Again, you guys are still here doing an amazing job and still putting your work in because the students all look up to you, the students all need you. You guys, for the last 3 years, have been under the attack. And I had to acknowledge this because I wanted you to know I did my research. Because my friend that's a teacher said, if you don't do your research, they're gonna tell you to get off the stage. So I said, okay, let me make sure I do some research. You guys have faced every type of criticism there is. You guys have faced the they, the thems. You have faced all types of things, the extremisms, which I remember when I was in a thread one time, somebody said, teachers are nothing but glorified babysitters. And I said, what? What are you talking about? It was amazing after COVID hit how many of them really thought that. Because now they had to be the teachers all the time. And then when you guys are sending the reports home saying your kid's bad, you're like, not my kid. My kid's not like that. They figured it out when COVID hit, right? Yeah, that kid might not have a problem with sitting still. Okay. They figured it out real quick. But what I found astonishing most of all was the fact that they wanted to get rid of art education. Why? Without art, most of us would not find who we are, because art helps you tap into your inner being, your inner creativity, and find out. Some people figure out real quick, art ain't for me. I need to do something else. That's how we have a lot of scientists. That's how we have a lot of people, engineers, because they're like, I am not going to be able to draw for nothing. So I appreciate art class. Art classes, right now, I can still draw a 3D square. There's a weird, odd skill that I have, but I can still draw a 3D square perfectly. So to the art teachers in here, where you at? Raise your hands. Thank you so much that I still know how to draw a 3D square. What you guys are facing is a lack of respect, and not only in the classroom, but you're facing it from some of the teachers. And not teachers here, but in general. What I meant was, and pause, from the parents. The parents don't appreciate who you are. They don't appreciate what you do. What you do is so impactful. For some of you, you are the mother, the father, the auntie, the grandmother, the cousin. You are everything to these kids, but yet and still, the parents don't understand and give you the respect that you deserve for what you are doing. And that to me bothered me, because you were with these kids 9 times every day. You know these kids better than their parents know them. You know these kids better than they know themselves. I remember when I wanted to become a substitute teacher, I said this to my dad 2 weeks before he passed away. I said, Dad, I'm thinking about becoming a substitute teacher. He was like, boy, they're gonna chase you out of that classroom in 2 days. I told my friend to help me with this, and she said, they're gonna chase you out in 2 hours, because you ain't got the patience for that. So you guys do everything in your power with all, and you get a lack of respect, and you've been experiencing it over the last 3 years. You also feel a lack of understanding when it comes to what you go through in your classroom every day. You guys are better than neurosurgeons. I didn't really understand that when my friend said it. You guys make more decisions than a neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeons are godlike. They believe that they can, I got the hands of your life in me. You guys make more decisions than them in a day. Can he go to the bathroom? Should he not go to the bathroom? Did he really forget his homework? He didn't forget his homework. Is this kid going through a mental moment at this time? You go through so much in a matter of, in a day, and most people would just be like, I couldn't even make up. I couldn't even think about it. You feel like your hands are tied. You feel like you don't know what you can do, because sometimes when you think you can do it, people are like, no, you can't do that. And then when you think you can do it, you got somebody arguing with you and telling you you did it the wrong way, even though you know you did it the right way. Once again, I applaud you, because you go through more in a single day than the average person. As a comic, I would love to say that I understand it. My closest relation to it is when I tell a joke and I got one person in the back of the room that kills it for everyone else in the whole entire room. You signed up to come to a comedy show. I told a joke the other day. I was about me going to a doctor and figuring out certain things just wasn't for me. I can't say what it is because I want to collect my check at the end of this. But the joke basically was, hey, you know what? I figured out something was, the guy stood up and said, that joke is inappropriate, I don't like it. I lost the whole entire audience. From one guy being upset. Everyone else loved me. That one guy. You deal with that every day. That one kid that wants to act up. That one person that wants to change the tone. You have to come back the next day and deal with it. I get to go to an opposite audience and say, you know what? New day, new time, let's try something else different. Again, what you go through is an amazing thing, and I really think people don't understand it and appreciate it. But let me tell you something that I learned. You guys are superheroes. You were the original superheroes. You were original stars. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to say, I want to be on TikTok. I want to be on YouTube. I want to be an influencer. Who's the original influencer? Teachers are. How many of you have kids? How many of you, when you try to help your kid with your homework, they say, my teacher said? It's the most powerful thing in the world. Most powerful thing in the world. When you're out and about minding your business, trying to get yourself something to eat, you run into one of your students with their kid, with their parents. They don't just sit there and say, oh, that's such and such. They run up, oh my God, that's Mrs. Johnson, that's Mrs. Johnson. They are so excited because you are the original superstars. You are rock stars to them. That's all they know, that's all they see, that's all they acknowledge. They're telling their parents, they're bragging on you. So you always need to remember, you are the superstar. If you're a coach, my dad taught football on top of teaching. And I remember he taught Andre Tippett, who played for the New England Patriots. And I remember going to some event, and Andre Tippett comes over to my dad, and he doesn't say, hey, Willie Johnson. He said, hey, Mr. Johnson, good to see you. You taught me a lesson that I'll never forget. As a kid seeing this, and these guys are big and burly, and this guy hugged my dad, I was like, that's an amazing thing to see. The impact that my dad had on this gentleman who went on to play in professional football. I will never forget that for the life of me, and I will never forget, we were sitting in Burger King in Newark, New Jersey, and a kid ran up and go, Dad, that's Mr. Johnson, that's my gym teacher. I was like, wow, I didn't know teachers were superstars like that. But my dad was a superstar. Everyone loved him, absolutely loved him. When we go back to why to be an educator, Dr. Lavender said something that struck to me when I was up there, and it's honestly believe it. You're not doing this for the beliefs of what you have today. You're doing it because 10 years down the line, some kid is going to come running back to you. He's not going to remember the lesson, but he's going to remember how you made him feel. That kid is going to remember if you made him feel great or if you made him feel bad. Two quick stories. From 4th grade going into 5th grade, I had a teacher who was the 5th grade teacher, and she literally said to me, it was the end of the school year, she goes, Mr. Johnson, we won't be having none of your shenanigans next year. I had a whole entire summer to mature, get better, be nicer, and not be a pain in the behind. I was a little bit of a roughneck, and not roughneck like bad. I was, I was bad, okay. I was in the principal's office a lot, I couldn't keep still. But I'll never forget how she made me feel like I was unredeemable. Like she could just throw that at me and I felt like nothing. And I never said it to my parents because my dad would have flipped out. My dad was one of those guys, you ain't gonna talk to my kid like that. So thank God I never said it with him, shared it with him, but at the same time, I'll never forget how that felt. On the flip side, 10th grade history class, Mr. Socken was out one day. Mr. Socken, we all know how kids get when they know there's a substitute teacher, right? Mr. Socken got a note that said I was acting up. Up to that point, even if I didn't do it, I was like, man, I'm just guilty anyway, whatever. One of the students stuck up for me and said he didn't do that. 10th grade was the first time a teacher apologized to me in front of all the students when they got it wrong. I remember that to this day. That a teacher was able to say to me, I'm sorry, I got it wrong, please accept my apologies. That made me feel great. Like, wow, there are teachers that have redeemable qualities. Because up until that point, I thought every teacher was just a pain and didn't like me. I didn't realize it was me that was the problem. It was me that was the problem. But in 10 years, it's how those kids are going to feel about you, how they're going to come back, the dreamers, the people that didn't believe in themselves, the guy that said, I couldn't get this math problem, and the math teachers are like, you're going to get it. We're going to get you through this process. We're going to make it so that you can achieve great things. We all know Oprah Winfrey, right? Oprah Winfrey, global. Absolutely global superstar. Everybody goes to Oprah when they want to spill their beans and tell why they upset and what they went through. Oprah, let me share a story with you. We all know that. She dedicates everything to her 4th grade teacher who made her feel like she could accomplish anything. That is the impact that teachers have that a lot of people do not ever give you guys enough credit. They do not understand the impact that you have every day. When you see a student not understanding what you're doing and why you're trying to drive home a lesson, he doesn't realize what you're giving him or her. They don't. A parent that comes at you and says, oh, you're trying to indoctrinate my kid. No, I'm not. I'm trying to help your kid understand the way the world works. Because at the end of the day, when we release them out into the world, they have nothing but themselves and the lessons that we taught them. That's it, no matter where they go. So how do we fix this? How do we fix you guys that you guys can feel great about what you're doing? First of all, prioritize yourself. Okay, I'm having stumbling problems over here. I'll get through it. Prioritize yourselves. If you're feeling like you're about to have a day and you're stressed out, step back a little bit. Say that, hey, you know what? I need to relax. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't be speaking to a student right now because I'm in this moment. That happens a lot. Because we're stressed out. You guys deal with a lot of stress all the time. But I want you to prioritize yourself. Think about taking a moment, take a breath. We always say that. Help each other out. There's a shortage of teachers. From everything you guys go out. I remember one day my friend told me, she called me up before she went into the school. She said, I'm sitting here crying, I'm sobbing. And I'm like, why would you do this? And she goes, because I love the students and I love what I do. And I never understood that level of love for a job, because at that point I was working in corporate America, and I'm like, no, I don't like my job that much. If I start crying, I'm out that door. And I didn't cry, but I left that door. I was like, this is it. This is all I'm gonna do. I'm gone. I don't want to deal with this anymore. It's okay to know that you were a little bit burned out. It is okay to say, hey, I need to take a step back. Talk to your administrators. Talk to your fellow teachers. Go out once a month. Go out once a month and have a teacher's night out where you guys hang out and you talk to each other and you share battle stories. Believe me, I know I was the subject of a lot of battle stories when I was younger. But share your battle stories. Where are my young teachers? The young teachers that just started. Where are you at? Raise your hands. Oh, you smarty. Okay, smart pants. Young teachers, lean on the veteran teachers for advice. Ask them, hey, I'm having a problem with a kid and I don't know how to get through to this kid. Maybe you know a technique because I noticed this kid responds to you. There's nothing wrong with that. Veteran teachers, if you're having a bad day and you're sour, don't share that with the young teachers. Don't sour them out. Let them discover the sourness on their own, but then bring them up. Bring them up, like, hey, yeah, we might have bad days, but this is great. Because you love it. You gotta always remember, I always have to, let me tell you, when I am having a bad day doing a set and no one's laughing, I couldn't even make a clown laugh. That's how bad it is. I always have to bring resilience out of myself and say, I'll get up on the stage and do it again tomorrow. Because if I don't, who wins? The atmosphere wins, whoever, because they got into me and I stopped doing. The same thing for you. Stand up, believe in what you're doing. Make sure that you know everything that you're doing it for, every reason that you're doing it, because that is what is so important. I want you guys to remember this. Can you guys do me a favor real quick? Can you stand up? Please stand up. It's going to sound weird, but it's going to make sense. If I was to run through this, I could get through the line because you were all individuals. As an individual, I can get through this line easier. It's not going to be a problem. I want you to all hold your hands. I don't care reaching back to you, reaching the side of you. Hold hands. Hold hands. Hold hands. You want a family. You spend 1,500 hours a week with each other. 1,500 hours, not a week, 1,500 hours a year. You know each other better than you know your own family, your own kids. You guys are acting worse than little kids that don't know how to handle it. Calm down. I don't want to have to overtalk you, but my point is, if you stand together, if you stand united together, who can defeat you if you are always lying together? If you are holding hands, who can get through to you? Who can get through this line? There's nobody that can get through this line. You are a united family. You are together. That's why you got into education. Everybody that is involved in education has decided to be part of the education family. Lastly, and I'm going to go through this real quick, I want to share something with you that really rings home to me. You can sit down. You guys are like, I want to sit. This is ridiculous. I don't want to hold hands anymore. This is not a church congregation. Lastly, I had a job in production, and it was a new production company. In that production company, we were having money problems. I hadn't paid rent in 2 months. I was about to get evicted. I was about to give up. I was about to completely say, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. I got other things I got to do with myself. I am not going to do this anymore. How many people in here are Michael Jackson fans? Michael Jackson is the greatest. I don't want to hear anything about Taylor Swift. Let it go. I've got my Pandora on Michael Jackson station. I've listened to Michael Jackson so many times, I can tell you ABC forwards and backwards. I've heard the remix, I've heard the ultra remix, I've heard the ultra remix a cappella. I've heard every song by Michael Jackson. I'm walking down 32nd Street, and while I'm walking down, I know my parents were speaking to me because I had said I'm giving up out loud. This song came on my Pandora for the first time. And when I tell you, ever since Pandora came out, it's been on, like, driving down here, I was on a Michael Jackson station. Song still doesn't come on, but this song is on my brain all the time. Keep the faith. Don't let anybody get you down. When you're walking through the halls and it sounds like something's going bad, you see a teacher, and it sounds like that teacher is having a moment, hey, keep the faith. Sounds cheesy. Sounds like, I don't want to say that. But even if it brings a chuckle out of them, say it. Because that's what we have to do if we're going to persevere and get through the year. We got to keep the faith. We got to remember why we got into education. You can't let these outsiders rattle you. You can't let the one bad student, the kid that was kind of like me, rattle him. You can't. You got to remember why you got into it, and you got to remember why you want to do this. Because right now, knowing that you guys are facing so much, and what Dr. Lappner said, with everything going on, social media, you guys got to worry about cell phones. Like if I say the wrong thing by accident, I'm having a moment. Cell phones. How ridiculous is that? But if you keep the faith and if you remember why you got into it, trust me when I tell you guys, you'll get through it to the next day. I want to thank you guys so much. And again, I do have 2 books on Amazon. I will be selling them back there. Give yourselves a round of applause. Dr. Lavender, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.